Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of the Uplift with Vision. I'm Reverend Patti. I'm here to pray us in and then talk about all things Ernest Holmes, who of course, as you know, is the founder of the Science of Mind and Spirit, this particular faith philosophy that we're practicing. So get comfortable in your seats. We're going to pray in and then we're going to chat. I give great thanks for this time we spend together, knowing and accepting that it is steeped in truth, that we come together to know the truth for ourselves and for each other, that there is nothing happening but the activity of spirit right here and now, that as our lives, as ourselves, as every little cell and molecule and organ in our body is an activity of spirit. We know that is the truth for ourselves. We know that there is no other substance but spirit in the manifest universe. And we are part of that, and so is all living things everywhere. So we come together to remember that there is only one, there is God, that life is God's life, and that it is whole, perfect, and complete. It is our life right here and right now. And giving great thanks for this truth that we are steeped in. I release this back to the law, knowing that its action is always perfect. And so as I step aside, I let Spirit lead the way through this uplift, knowing that it is uplifting, entertaining, and informative, giving us something to think about. And so it is. Amen. So how are you doing this wonderful winter solstice day? Here we are, December 21st. It is the shortest day of the year. I heard someone say it's the shortest day of the longest year ever. Do you feel like that sometimes? Yeah, I think I do too. Oh man, but we're getting through it. We're getting through it. We're sheltering. We're washing our hands, wearing our masks, staying separate and apart, really practicing safe distancing. And I'm so glad about that. And you know, this whole pandemic thing will be in our rear view mirror shortly, right? Shortly. So just breathing through that, I wanted to go back to 365 Science of Mind. These are Ernest Holmes devotionals, really, the daily wisdom for us. And I wanted to just finish out the year using the 365 because it's just so delightful. You know, he talks about, particularly for the month of December, he talks about the light. He talks about wisdom. He talks about truth, you know, and the fact that we are one. And in particular, at this time of the year where we're celebrating the Christmas season, just to get that feeling again that there is one life, there is one truth, there is this idea that beneath all of the busyness, right? Have you finished your Christmas shopping or ordering or whatever it is we're doing this year? Behind all of that hustle and bustle and baking and cooking and things like that, there is the peace. There is the peace of the season. There is the love of the season. And of course, there is the return of the light, which is an important theme at this time of the year. An important theme right here, the winter solstice, which was, you know, for thousands of years, a ritual, a pagan ritual of the hope, of course, that the light would return, and of course it does, always. So I wanted to read to you this December 21st. Ernest Holmes' title for this day is, I Know That I Understand How to Speak the Word of Truth. And I find this so important now, but always, really, that we speak truth, because it's so easy for us to fall into conditions, right? And then we start speaking conditions. We start speaking about how difficult things are, or how hopeless, or how tragic, you know? We can get all involved in the condition and we forget truth. So this day is a reminder. And the quotes that Ernest Holmes used, this one is from John 6:3. And he says, "It is the Spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit. They are life." And then he takes a line from the Buddhist text which says, "And where do name and form both cease and turn into utter nothingness?" And the answer is in consciousness, invisible and infinite, of radiance bright. So this idea that everything, where does everything come from? It comes from consciousness. Everything springs from consciousness. Everything is from within to without, or as above, so below, however you want to phrase it. And in this first paragraph, Ernest writes, "This lesson tells us the objective world is quickened by the indwelling spirit. The words of truth are life unto every form they animate. All words that are spoken in the realization of the divine nature are words of truth, and all such words give life. It is the spirit that quickeneth." Our lesson also tells us that all objects, that is, the entire objective universe, or the manifest universe, comes from one substance. The substance is differentiated, that is, manifest in many forms. It looks as though cause were dual, because all forms are all different. But our lesson clearly states that we must not fall under the delusion of a dualistic character, but rather penetrate the unity back of all forms. This goes back to the first teaching of Ernest Holmes, the primary teaching, core concept number 1. God is all there is. God is all there is. And so everything in the manifest universe is this divine outpicturing of this sentient energy, this sentient beingness that seeks to know of itself as form. It seeks and has found a way to express itself in 3 dimensions and time. And everything that we see in the physical world is that very thing. It is spirit knowing of itself in form. We are that. Trees are that. Plants, animals, insects, fish, fowl, everything from the stars and the galaxies that we can see in across the expanse of the universe, as far as our current technology and telescopes can allow us to peer into the universe. That too is the body of God. And when we think about that, it's really interesting. I had read somewhere where when people, stand out at night and they gaze up at the stars, you go to those places where there is no street lights, no city lights. You get far, far away from it. And you can gaze up at the stars at night, and there are just billions of stars everywhere you look. And people say, "Oh my gosh, the immensity of the universe makes me feel so small in comparison." And I find it is just the opposite. I think when we stand out in the darkness and gaze up at the stars and see the immensity of the universe, we're only looking at a little teeny tiny bit of it. And yet we see, thousands and thousands and millions of stars. It doesn't make me feel tiny. It makes me feel part of something so much greater than just myself. Because that is the truth of us. We are an intricate part of this one life. And our part in it is just as important as a whale's part, or a star's part, or a blade of grass's part. Every part of this life is important. And your place would be missing it if you were not in it. Your thread in the tapestry of all life is unique and individualized, and it wouldn't be right without it there. So to gaze up at the evening sky, and do that tonight. Hopefully it'll be nice and clear for you. Do that tonight. Gaze up at the evening sky and realize that we are part of this whole life of spirits. from the stars to the galaxies to the farthest reaches of the universe, which is continuing to expand. We're part of that. The same carbon atom that can be found in a galaxy hundreds of millions of light years away is the same carbon atom that is in your skin cell, that is in your heart cell. We are one in the same. There is one life, like Core Concept 1 said. There is one life. It is God. It is our life right here and right now, and it is whole and perfect and complete. Let me go back to what Ernest wrote for today. In our text from Buddhism, we get the idea that there is a place where both the objective name and form cease to exist as things of themselves. There is an invisible consciousness that radiates all forms. This does not mean a denial of the objective world, but rather an affirmation that it is an effect projected from, by, and within a transcendent cause that has complete control over it. So you see, the world that we're living in, it's not artificial, it's not made up, it's not an illusion. Ernest Holmes said, it's as real as it needs to be. I love that expression. It's as real as it needs to be, he said. But it is not cause, it is effect. The cause is the conscious direction of the law that produced it. And just as cause can produce effect, it can absorb it again. And this is why forms in the physical world rise and then they fall. Nothing in the physical world comes to stay, even the galaxies that we talked about, right? How many millions of galaxies have come and gone since the beginning of Earth? Oh my, how many stars have gone nova and have collapsed and are gone since the beginning of Earth? I mean, things come and go. Spirit inhabits form and abandons form all the time in the physical world. Nothing in the physical world is ever meant to stay. The only thing that is eternal is the cause behind it, the eternal source, the higher power, God, Spirit, whatever you want to call it, the one, right? It is the only eternal, and what it does is it creates. That's what it does. It seeks to find form, and it inhabits form, and then it abandons form, and it creates again. And it creates over and over and over. It created us, and here we are. To remember that our life might be one instant of time in the physical world, but eternal in the invisible realm, in cause, where everything is. So let me go back to what Ernest Holmes said and finish up this day. He says, I know that I understand how to speak the word of truth. I know that the invisible power of the Spirit is with me. I know that my world is peopled with forms of light, with divine radiance. I know that I am a perfect being, living under perfect conditions with other perfect beings, in a perfect God. And this is for us to remember when things are going well and when things are going not so well, right? Because things have been a little upside down this year, haven't they? They've been a little unusual. I don't think any of us have lived through a worldwide pandemic before. This is the first time. This is the once in a century experience, and I guess we're the people to go through it because here we are. But to remember, regardless of what we're going through, that there is one life, it is God's life. It is expressing right here and now as us. As us. So how do we choose to go through this time? Well, Ernest Holmes gave us the answer right here. By speaking only truth, by knowing only truth, by demonstrating only truth. We go back to our basics. And it's easier, well, maybe more challenging, but it's easier to rely on the basics, go back to basics, when things are, in upheaval. We go back to rule 1, God is all there is, right? God is all there is. God is whole, perfect, and complete. There is only one life. It is God's life. It is whole, perfect, and complete. It is my life now, and it is the life of everything else in form. There is only one thing behind the many things, and it is the energy, which is spirit. And so if you remember nothing else, when things go upside down, when things go haywire in your life, if you can remember nothing else, that's the only thing that you need to remember, and it brings us right back to peace. It brings us right back to truth, so that we can speak only truth. And if things are upside down or conditions are haywire, you can just look upon them and go, that's interesting. Without getting involved in the condition, without naming the condition as good or bad, without attaching yourself to the condition, without making predictions about the condition. We don't say, oh, this is hard. Oh, this is going to be hard for us to get through, or this is going to be difficult to manifest, or this is, this is going to be a struggle, right? We don't have to make those declarations, because all that is addressing the condition at the level of the condition. What we do is we go back to truth. God is, we are. Everything is whole, perfect, and complete. And in that speaking of truth lies our way through. Just in speaking that truth alone lies the way through for us. We remember who we are. We remember whose we are. We can speak only truth over and over and over, and truth demonstrates. And that's how we really change our thinking and change the conditions around us, by insisting only truth. Let's pray out. I give great thanks for this time spent together. I know and accept that it is all God and it is all good. I know as we come together in consciousness that we are the lights for ourselves, directing ourselves forward on the spiritual path. We are the lights for others as well. We stand tall and sure, knowing we are speaking only truth, and we are the lights for those around us seeking to know a way. And we are that way. I give great thanks for this time spent together. I know it is all God. I know it is all good. And so it is. We're going to have a Christmas song shortly. I just want you to remember that and don't tune out before the music. Come back tomorrow and see us again on the Uplift. Go out tonight and stare up at the sky and see what grand life that you are a part of. See you tomorrow on the Uplift. Enjoy the Christmas music. Bye-bye.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing of bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells chime in jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air, what a bright time. It's the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go gliding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet. Jingle around the clock. Mix and a mingle in the jingling feet. That's the Jingle Bell Rock. It's the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go gliding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet, jingle around the clock. Mix and mingle with the jingling feet. That's the jingle bell, that's the jingle bell, that's the jingle bell rock.